I don't know when Daniel see you on here, his ass ain't showing up.
You should come.
We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him for one of these days. Like it's good.
There's a bunch of people who have strong opinions, but nothing to back it up.
Hello, welcome to episode 4. My name is Corey McCarthy. I'm joined with the Honorable Aaron Carter, and who we had to talk into taking off his ridiculous black hat he had on a couple of minutes ago.
No, I'm gonna put it back on, but whatever. I am bringing that. A couple years ago, I tried to bring the fedora back. It worked for a little bit, but I'm gonna make another effort.
I mean, what kind of hat? What kind of hat? Can't really get away with a Kangol anymore.
No.
Right? Like we can't get away with the Kangol anymore.
You have to be a certain age.
And if I see a brother with a beret on, I'm ready to fight. So if I don't know, that hat may not be back. That may not be back. Today's episode, we're just really gonna talk. We got a few things on the menu. I just kind of want to jump into it. What did you think about the All-Star game, NBA All-Star game?
I thought it was better. You could clearly see Wemby was pissed that they lost that first game. You could clearly see that they were playing. And so I got into whatever I actually looked up from what I was doing, which, it made it more, it definitely was interesting enough. But it also was sad because it could have been LeBron's last one. And at some point I was thinking they were, overhyping when Kawhi was going off. At some point, I was thinking how I missed the old All-Star game, where something like that, a Jordan or somebody would be like, all right,
Magic's last All-Star game.
That those one-on-one matchups where they're like, oh, guy's going off, let me shut him down real quick, and it actually kind of meant something, and so it kind of sucked that they had to do this gimmicky WWE shit to get them to actually play and sort of just play for the love of the game, which they claim that they play for, but you saw in the past All-Star games they clearly don't.
Yeah, I thought they had to come with a gimmick, man. And I enjoyed it until the last one where the old heads just sort of ran out of steam. But I don't even know if it's that. I just think after a while they realized it was too intense, and dudes was trying to get buckets, and then it just became. This is why I tell people all the time, Steph Curry ruled basketball, because people just started firing threes, and then the young dudes. Their joints was going in, and the old dudes started blowing layups. I think the All-Star game's not for everybody. I think a couple of dudes just look regular. And it was weird because y'all lead some teams and y'all just out here just looking regular, and everybody is, especially when we're in the group, we always talk about get it to Durant. I don't know. Other than a one shot over LeBron in a Golden State Finals, I don't know when Kevin Durant has been the showstopper. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's never even had a 50-point game, or he must have. I think he had one, but
he hasn't. He's been. You know what he's been? He's been Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron never really had 50 home runs, and it just a long time he was very consistent. And you have to you can't have a discussion of greatest, sort of players, that top 20 level player without Durant, really. But you also can make the argument that his impact isn't what the NBA tries to make it out to be with Durant. So, I didn't have a problem with him going to Golden State. But if you take away those Golden State years, he's been Tracy McGrady, which is Tracy McGrady is the comp that I use for a lot of stuff, and people get mad and they talk about but McGrady scored a lot of freaking points that meant nothing, and some of them were very, very stylistic, but his career could have been so much better, and he just didn't have that killer in him. And Durant, outside of Golden State, has not had it. In fact, I think he's pretty much been a 500 player. Since he's left Golden State, which is not greatness.
I never had a problem with Durant going to Golden State. I just had a problem with Durant when people recognizing what's happening. Durant went to Golden State to get wide open shots because everybody was chasing Steph Curry. All he had to do was just catch and shoot. He'd never been that wide open in his life. And I remember watching the games that everybody was like, go back and look. Who are you doubling? No, you're going to double Steph Curry. You're going to pick up Steph Curry full court. I ain't never seen nobody pick up Kevin Durant full court, right? Like, and for the most part, sometimes people are going under on a 3-point shot. I say that to say, if Kevin Durant was who he was, or people say he is, he would have done what Kawhi did. And the question begs to me is like, damn, who is better? Is it when healthy? Kawhi Leonard obviously fleeced the NBA, right? Like we know he's a.
Well, that was one of the things too. There wasn't one mention of his illegal contract. Like, and that setup when he was going on, I wish I could just be happier, like everybody else. But again, as he's going off, I'm like, yo, this is a heel to baby face turn, like Vince McMahon. Somehow, this dude has stolen millions of dollars for like 5 years now, orchestrated one of the worst trades in NBA history by forcing the Clippers to get Paul George in that awful trade, which they're still paying for. And we now know
Alexander.
Right. And we now know he had a legal contract. We know he did. There wasn't just smoke there. We know what they did to pay this dude. He still sits out this season, and now he's back in the All-Star game, and they act like that shit didn't happen.
Right.
That is the NBA marketing machine at its
finest. About faking, I don't want to say faking an injury, refused to come back and play for Pop.
Yeah.
Fleece the NBA. But nobody's talking about it because he scored 19 in a row in a meaningless All-Star game, and a lot of people excited. This is what I talk about. I know this is what you refer to. Like you're a lot meaner, not meaner. You're a lot more aggressive in terms of what you say for the group. But you dudes in the group, man, listen. This is what dudes mean when they say the lower level stuff, right? Because lower level thinking will say like, "Wow, this is amazing." Right? This is
this is amazing.
It's amazing. But like other dudes are like, nah, bro. Like, number one, this is a meaningless game. Right? Number two, he's probably gonna sit out for another week because he feels like he played too hard. But lower level thinking would say that this is just phenomenal, all-time great shit.
Yeah.
And while I like enjoy this sort of like competitive side, I definitely like that came out a little bit. I definitely think that, there's some younger guys that were impressive. Like I think Cade, like, who is a young dude that in the NBA that impresses you that you're just like, okay, we got.
I mean, what Anthony Edwards did was nice. That first game, the first game and the second game, he swore on live TV and all the rest of that, but. He's goofy, but you could tell the dude cares about winning a basketball game. Yeah. And so when I'm looking at players to watch on my expensive ass league pass, I'm watching it. If I see Anthony Edwards is on, I'm watching a couple possessions. I'm watching Cade Cunningham. I'm watching a few of those possessions. They had I think they mentioned there was like 4 Jalen's on the court or something at one point during the broadcast. I love the Celtics, but I'm not necessarily tuning in for Jaylen Brown.
Right.
I'm not tuning in for a lot of these guys. Even Luka. I'm not tuning in anymore. It's impossible.
I'm with you on that. I can't. If Luka doesn't have the ball, there's no experience, right?
Right.
Anthony Edwards is like an experience. And this is for another episode, but I can make the argument that at 23, Anthony Edwards is probably ahead of Jordan. Right? In terms of what he did. In my opinion, right? I think Anthony Edwards at 23 is better than Michael Jordan at 23.
I don't think so.
And we will save it for another episode. We could go toe-to-toe on it. Michael Jordan at 23 is not what Anthony Edwards is. He's just not. He ain't got the handle. He ain't got and the oath. I mean, listen, if I'm Jordan, I got that. And I'm not hating on Jordan. I know dudes are going to say I'm hating on Jordan. I'm paying the bills of that statistician who gave me 11 steals. I mean, who gave me a 9 steal average at home every year.
Yeah, I mean that is. I mean, you already know what I feel about a lot of Jordan stats, but you forget the North Carolina years. You forget the title. You forget what he came in as a rookie. Michael Jordan and who he came in against. So Anthony Edwards with the awful Adam, Silver, that marketing is pushed him onto us. So he was thrust into, you're going to be the guy. Jordan came in with real dudes. He came in with Bird, with Magic, with a lot the forgotten superstar Dr. J. He came in with Kareem, and he became that dude. Just
Not until they got
no,
older.
he didn't win until they got older. But he was that dude when they were still playing. So what part of his issue was, well, you're never going to win because you can't beat these dudes. But his marketing and everything, that was a natural thing. Those Nikes and
That's
uh,
why. That's why they
yeah,
make
yeah, the
more.
original Air Jordan changed the entire industry, and that includes basketball, that includes soccer, that includes that he created $1 billion industry because who he was. Those shoes didn't come out in
Because he
1991,
was also one of one though, Aaron. Like he was
right? And
one of
Anthony
one. That
Edwards
was
is
the
not
thing.
one of one. Anthony
But
Edwards is not one of one.
because since then there's been more Michael Jordan, archetypes. Like I feel, and we can get on it in another show, but
Hmm.
I feel that Anthony Edwards has just as good a footwork. I actually think he shoots the 3-point shot better, obviously because he worked on it. It's hard to comp,
Yeah.
right? But I'm thinking from a skill standpoint, right? And I'm not going to give Jordan all that defensive credit because he had to only cover one position. And like, you're not gonna tell me that covering Hersey Hawkins is just a big deal, right?
No,
yeah,
I'm not. I mean,
you're not gonna tell me
yeah,
like Byron
no.
Russell has never been mentioned since. I can go down the list. Not like, but I got dudes that try to argue with me about Thunder Dan and shit. Like, you can't tell me.
Yeah, Kevin does. Kevin tries to argue that nonsense.
You
Nonsense.
can't tell me about, and you can't tell me about the expansion dudes, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
expansion. I can take two dudes from each expansion team during that era, post them in the chat, and dudes cannot reply in less than a minute who they are without Google. Like, that's the kind of people that he had to play. But I will give you the point for the 80s because, hey, if you get that kind of numbers in the 80s with all those generational talents, you're in pretty good shape. And I think that leads me to sort of think about the post All-Star game. Since a couple of the lazy dudes didn't want to get back in, Luka and Joker, has the world really caught up to us, or is the style that the style that changed overseas that sort of that's running past us?
Oh, the world is caught up and past. The style of basketball that is taught now worldwide wins. It's that simple. And to me, the comp is, remember Kentucky under Calipari?
Yep.
Calipari, great recruiter, blah, 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 blah. But his teams lost every single year except for the Anthony Davis year against right. But his teams lost against inferior talent because they played better basketball. And Calipari is not a good basketball coach. He's a good recruiter. So right now, American players, through the horrific AAU system, are not being taught basketball. They're being taught how to enhance their skills, their own personal skills, to get to the NBA as fast as possible. So you have teams that are the world players that are just better basketball players. The Celtics, for example, got a couple guys. And the Celtics are from top to bottom are not talent, are not a let me rephrase. The Celtics from top to bottom are not a second place team. Yeah. Simple. But they are playing better than the sum of their parts because of their players are fundamentally better on a lot of those. This games are boring as hell. But they are playing better basketball when they're going up against the Charlottes and some of the other teams full of American players that can't play basketball. They can dunk and yell and make mean faces. But the basketball, once crunch time comes, you're watching it fall apart. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening with the world. Jokic is a better basketball player. He's probably the best basketball player. Giannis, all of them, all our MVPs now, all the most valuable players are foreign. And I think it's just going to continue. And now you're about to have a 5, 6 year run with a freak of nature French dude, another player who did not learn basketball in America, which is embarrassing, but this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think we are behind. I think the world took it personal when the dream teams came and started slapping people around, and they developed those basketball academies. You know what I mean? And the basketball academies, they said we didn't want to start at 14, 15. We want to start at 10, 11. Like Luka's been in a lab. You know, I hate watching
Mm-hmm.
him play, but he's been in a lab forever. You know what I mean? They found Giannis somewhere and put him in a lab. Like, we got to stop saying, like, let's all be fair and abuse the word equitable. We got to stop that. A talent is a talent, right? And we gotta put them in a lab if we want to maintain that system, right? I think that the world has caught up from a perspective that they are they kind of know when to be they know how to move without the ball, and we actually teach aesthetic basketball. You mentioned in the last episode about highlight basketball. I think like that's one, but also the aesthetic basketball of looking the part. And that's a little bit of James Harden. Harden like made people
Yeah.
feel that they could be good at basketball, but the accountability around winning sort of went away. So we were like, for a while, we're stuck pushing up the losers, right, and elevating them at the same level as the winners. And I think ultimately, I know for a fact, like when a kid, I've seen plenty of kids play. And I say, well, show me some film because then I know a lot of coaches, and the kid sends me a highlight reel of him shooting layups in the layup line before the game and shooting free throws. I then go and I look, he scored 4 points that game. I'm like, yo, this dude is ranked. Who ranked this dude? You know what I mean? And you could Jedi mind trick your way into the NBA at this point because you are presenting in a certain way with the highlight basketball and the aesthetic
You,
basketball.
you,
Meanwhile, go ahead.
well, as you were talking, my comp to that and my representation of that, and I hate to say it because he's a local kid, is Devonta. I have now watched him play for 3 years. I've seen the schools that he's picked. BYU to me was not a good choice for this kid. Again, he's local, but I don't know him. The When I watch him play, like that Kansas versus BYU game, where the two top kids, I didn't see anything that was going to show me where you can hand this kid the key to the franchise if you pick him number 1 or 2 or whatever, and he is going to work on his game to elevate the basketball team around him. I think he himself will get a little bit better. I think he's going to score some points. I think he's kind of an underwhelming rebounder. I don't think he defends at his level of athleticism, and I think he represents right now exactly what you're talking about. So if you're giving me a choice between I have one pick and I'm picking between him or I just forget the kid's name out of Real Madrid, or I'm picking him, I'm taking the Real Madrid kid because I feel like he's going to be more. If I'm the Celtics, I feel like he's going to be more receptive to getting into my system and learning the way that I want him to play. Bailey on Utah, another kid. We've got a couple kids now who came out last year and are underwhelming in terms of their NBA time. And I think this current crop is going to be like that.
I completely disagree with the Bonsa point. The
Go ahead.
Bonsa, here's the thing, right? The intangibles, the same intangibles that make, like, imagine if he's a type of kid, right? With the type of family, right? And the type of understanding that is going to benefit more from an NBA system than anyone else. Peterson, I said, I know people looked at that game and watched Peterson. Peterson scored 10 points yesterday, by the way, right? Like, I look at Peterson and I'm like, damn, this is James Harden that cares a little bit more. But the Bonsa, I think because of who he is and his work ethic, he will benefit more. I think him and Boozer would benefit more from the NBA training the NBA, like he takes advice. He's a sponge in that way. I think there's more so other people around him. But I've seen him play 12 times, and I'm like, yo, I don't know what anybody else is seeing, but this kid is heads and tails above everybody else as a complete basketball player. Does he compete defensively all the time? No, but they play a little bit of zone sometimes. But I think he is it. I think he is it.
You know why?
Boozer too, right? I think Boozer, but
I'm higher on Boozer than I am of Devonta. One reason, and I haven't been proven wrong on this yet. The top pick in the last decade or so, if you're a number one recruit, number two recruit, and you pick a less than stellar program, you have not succeeded in the NBA. And I'm talking Fultz, I'm talking Simmons, I'm talking all these kids who were number one and number two, and they picked these sort of secondary programs to go to. And Devonta, we know, got his $7 million. Great for him. But is that the best for his development as a basketball player to have gone to BYU? And to me, when you talk about his family, without knowing them or anything, I'm looking at what school did he pick, why did he pick it, and what that says about his mindset right now in terms of the love of basketball and wanting to compete for a national title. He's no shot to win the national title. He's not going to win. And he could have gone anywhere he wanted, and he chooses BYU. And the money, I'm positive, would have been comparable. So that, to me, says now when he's going up against Jason Tatum, when he's going up against Anthony Edwards, and he's going to get his ass kicked at some point as a rookie, what's going to happen? That's why some of the Duke kids and some of the Kansas kids and the Michigan State kids do better in terms of on the next level, fundamentally, and making their teams better than some of the higher, flashier kids. And that's what I'm seeing with Devonta. Local kid, so he might be the first one. In fact, I hope he is. But the track record of these kids, going all the way back to, the two biggest tragedies to me, Imani Bates and Mikey Williams.
Oh,
I lived in San Diego, and I saw Mikey play as a sophomore then. I'm like, Jesus, my God, this dude's, not the tallest, but 6'1", 6'2", plays bigger than his height, but was more worried about the girls and Instagram, had no direction, and he was picking weak schools. His coaches were like, yeah, Mikey, do what you want. He was living on his own,
right.
And you could see that mindset in him. And that's what I fear with some of the top. Ben Simmons, when he picked LSU, nope. And I was fascinated because he's an Australian kid, he's a foreign guy. But he got here, got that American attitude, picked LSU, and didn't try. And you could see that. Fultz too, Pacific Northwest, when he was one of the top players.
Well, they knew Fultz, they knew he was hurt. Fultz was hurt. And Fultz was hurt for a while, and they still picked him. I would have never drafted him. I got a homeboy who loved him. But I would have never drafted.
It was always Tatum in that draft. Always.
It was always Tatum, right? Like yeah. It was. You didn't even have to think twice, right?
No.
But that's what they ended up doing. I'm gonna transition right now because we got to do this. A week ago, we followed up on our Super Bowl picks. I went 31-10. I was probably closer than most. I was so mad at that last touchdown, though. I'm so mad at that last touchdown.
I had the over, so I was cool with it.
Should have got shut out, right? What are your thoughts on that game?
I've already said I think somebody in the Patriots should be arrested. That's my first thought. Because when we made the picks, you said your score, and I said that I think it's you're going to know right away in the first couple minutes, which we did. But I said I thought the Patriots would score a lot, as long as Drake May wasn't injured. And myself and a lot of other gamblers are on that injury report, or on the full participation, limited participation. The Patriots didn't listen. They were like, "Oh no, he's good." And as soon as he got out there were two things that were evident. One, Will Campbell is either hurt or he's horrific, and that was the end of his career that we watched. And that two, Drake May was hurt. He was not throwing the football. The wide receivers weren't getting open. The wide receivers, the Seahawks were playing zone, and the receivers were running into the zone. And there was a couple breakdowns of that on a few sites that I follow, and a couple gambling sites. But your pick was close. The Patriots had no business on that football field. Uh, and that's what it looked like. I said, I think I said it on the show too, that they are the worst team to appear in a title game I have ever seen. Any sport. And I'm talking that Arizona versus Pittsburgh, all of those, all of that. Indiana last year, um, Toronto when they won with Kawhi and that off balance shot that he made to get into the finals, and the whole team of Golden State got hurt. That Patriots football team was awful. They were absolutely and completely awful. Gonzalez, to me, you saw the difference. Gonzalez was the only like person who belonged on the field with the Seahawks at the time. And now we live in a country where Donald Trump is the president and Sam Darnold has won a Super Bowl. Can you believe this?
And that was my thing. I'm sitting watching with my brother, and I'm and first of all, Patriots fans are just like the people on the sit and talk group. By the middle of the second quarter, there was already dumping on the Patriots, right? Like there's no loyalty in Boston fans at all, right? Like, they're already dumping on, right? So my brother's sitting there, my sister's sitting there, they just completely destroying, obliterating the Patriots. And I'm saying to myself, like, yo, do y'all understand who Sam Darnold is? Like, Sam Darnold was trying to give them the game.
Mm-hmm. His first throw should have been an interception.
Should have, like, 3 or 4 times, right? I'm like, yo, do you understand the magnitude of this? And, like, it's leading me to think, like, I don't know sometimes what Josh McDaniels was thinking. And I think maybe outside of the if you're playing, everybody's hurt at this point. If you're playing, I can't give you hurt credit, right? So I don't know if they were able to simulate the amount of speed, because a 4-man front getting to the quarterback in that way, it's insane. And they even put Bill Belichick, right, would have brought another tight end in, right? And just so he could get into the bubble screens, right? Bill Belichick would have been chipping. They just allowed dudes to just run them over.
9 punts. 9 punts to start the football. That was bad coaching. It was bad everything. Just bad. And it was so bad that most Patriot fans aren't mad. Like, I'm not mad that the Patriots.
No. I don't think they're mad. I don't think they're mad because they're just happy to be there. They're just happy to be there. They knew that Jarrett Stidham. They knew that that C.J. Stroud could throw. Lester could have been a better starter than C.J. Stroud, right? And they knew that the Chargers' offensive line were missing 2 Pro Bowlers. Like, the Patriots fans were happy to be there, but they damn well flipped on them. If I'm the Patriots, what am I doing? Is it the age-old question of going to get a big-time wide receiver, or am I trying to get a left tackle?
No, you're trying to get a wide receiver. You need a wide. I wanted the Hawaiian kid that's on Carolina. I want the North Carolina, the NC State receiver right now. I want a big 6'3", 4'4" wide receiver. That's what I want. That's what they need. And also, like, if they could get a Brock Bowers tight end.
For the guy that throws the best deep ball, quote unquote, by the numbers in football.
Right. That's what they haven't had one. And the last time that they did in Randy Moss, they scored the most touchdowns ever. And I think Drake may see. A lot of people are like, well, maybe he's not the guy. I disagree. He's the guy. I think he's the guy, unless they do what they did to Mac Jones and let this offensive line continue to beat the hell out of him, and then he's not going to be good. But Campbell, Campbell statistically had the worst game in the history of offensive linemen. And he had it in the Super Bowl. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, if it was good or bad that he didn't speak to the media afterward. And then once he did speak, he said he was hurt, and some excuses came out. But moving him to guard is not the answer. You don't draft a guard at number 3 or 4. you coach the kid up, and you let him and that left side of the offensive line. Either you're going to know right away in training camp. I go to training camp, pretty much every year, every other year, and so you can see who got skills and who doesn't. And everybody who's a Patriots fan is going to know right away. In training camp, they're going to see. It's going to be the first time that offensive line play is going to be dissected in training camp. It's going to be the most talked about thing among Patriots fans. It's not going to be Henderson, who started off great and he still continues to run into the ass of the offensive lineman. Instead of bouncing it out, his prop was 20 yards for the Super Bowl. Like, his prop bet was 20 yards for the Super Bowl. And the second part of that too was I told a buddy of mine, we were going over some of the stuff. Every single Patriot was plus money to score a touchdown. Every single Patriot, which means that Vegas knew that the Patriots did not belong in that football game. And I also think Vegas knew that Drake May was more hurt than what we knew, because if you're getting a shot before the Super Bowl, your ass should be on the injury report.
Right.
Like, if you have to be shot up, you were not full participation. The Patriots lied, and they should be punished. But I think it's going to be Campbell. I do think Drake May is the guy. I really do. I think he's 23. He got his ass kicked. Now he knows what it is. I think he's going to get better. I think he's going to be that Brady in the second year. Like, people forget, Brady, after his first year, he went out and was living it up. He was having sex with, like, Mariah Carey and doing all this stuff. And he wasn't that good in his second year as a starter. He really wasn't. And I think Drake May got that experience the first year. We're so used to Brady and just being good right away that this is how a quarterback develops.
Brady wasn't good in that playoffs when Drew Bledsoe that playoff.
No, he wasn't good, but he was a rookie. He wasn't Drake May. Drake May had 4 horrific games. And because we've had Brady, this is how a quarterback, every other team, every other franchise, they don't get the guy and they're just good. Manning had like 50 interceptions his first year. And we want this kid to be Brady, where he didn't lose his first 9 playoff games.
Not
right. Brady's never going to happen again. So that's why, and you see with these stupid reactionary sound clip people, well, maybe he's not that good. No, he's just a 23-year-old quarterback who got the shit kicked out of him. And now he comes back next year and gets a little bit better. He doesn't go from first Super Bowl to second Super Bowl to third Super Bowl. He's not going to go 9-0 in the playoffs. Right. And so this is what we're going to see.
How much of this was Seattle? I think a lot of it was Seattle too, though. Here's something that's scary. There's $73 million in cap space going into next year. $73 million in cap space.
They're not repeating. Doesn't matter.
Who beats them other than my Ravens?
San Francisco can beat them. There's going to be a bunch of people can beat them. Sam Darnold's not going to repeat this year. I think. Does he get paid? I'm not certain. Does he?
I'm not sure.
Did he have a 2-year contract? Did he have a multi-year contract?
He's not a free agent. No.
He's not a free. Yeah.
He signed a 3-year, $100 million deal.
Yeah, he's not going to be. He's not going to be adequate next year. He's just not. And again, like we saw, if the Patriots had played even poorly, they would have been in the football game. Like, if they had played even poorly, he tried to give the football to them on several occasions. It's just the Patriots were historically bad. Sam Darnold wasn't good. And one of the reasons that you just did it, you just mentioned it, nobody, and that me, you, everybody, nobody is talking about the Seahawks. Everyone's talking about the Patriots.
How bad the Patriots were.
Right. Nobody's talking about how good the Seahawks were. Yes, the defense is good. It's not an all-time defense, but it was more so the Patriots were bad. This was a down year for the NFL in terms of teams, and there was no dominant team and et cetera. It's more so that Seattle went on a good run. They caught lightning in a bottle. The Rams game was very good, but the Rams weren't an all-time, they're not an all-time team. And They're not repeating. Right now, if I were betting money, I'd put 500 on it that they're not repeating.
I think at worst they get back to the NFC Championship game. And
Yeah.
I think they do.
If they don't have home field, no, they won't.
I'm gonna name some free agents. You tell me where they should go. All right, Trey Hendrickson, the edge rusher from Cincinnati, top free agent edge rusher.
San Francisco.
He should go. Why?
I think their program is good. I think their program is good. I think they're on the cusp. I think they have two, solid quarterbacks. I'm not a huge Brock Purdy person. I think once he got paid, you kind of neutralize his value. But San Francisco is a good destination. They got the stadium. They've got the coach. They've got a program that can win if they can stay healthy. They're blaming power lines and all kinds of shit. But if they stay healthy, they're a Super Bowl contender.
Well, that's like the case every year, right? Like even when they made it the other year, they became unhealthy. I think Trey Hendrickson should go to Baltimore. Baltimore got away with murder this year with no edge rushing. Right?
Yeah.
And I think he should go to Baltimore. Not because I'm a Baltimore Bears fan, but it is what it is. George Pickens.
No, he's not a Patriot. I don't know.
The next guy is Mike Evans. He got probably 2 years left.
Absolutely not. No, he's done.
You would not put Mike Evans in a Patriots uniform.
No, give me a young, tall, fast wide receiver. Don't give me Mike Evans. Don't give me another hurt guy. Don't give me another rehab guy. We have that in Wayward Dick Stephon. We don't need another one.
Pickens is young though, but his attitude is filthy.
No, I don't want him. I don't want Brown. Keep them away from my young quarterback. I don't want them anywhere near my young developing quarterback. Put them with Joe Burrow. Put them with Aaron Rodgers. Put them with anybody but my young quarterback who could possibly get back to the Super Bowl. Keep them as far away as possible. No A.J. Brown, no Malcolm Tents, no, none of them.
All right. I think not Seattle. I think Seattle signs one of these big name free agents. Right. If I am, do you take where do you see a player like Trevon Diggs? Corner.
Now that is more Patriot like for me, because I think with Vrabel being defensive and knowing how to build that defense, if you give me a true, second corner to put on the opposite side of Gonzalez, then now you have that was it 2014 when you had Revis on one side, when you had that big, and they came with the big nickel.
Yeah.
I think the Patriots could create something like that with a corner like that. All of those things. The Patriots too are way under the cap as well. And guys want to go to teams that have a quarterback on his rookie deal to where they can make their money and still win. So them making their money is not going to put the Patriots in financial jeopardy. They're not going to have to restructure their deal and all the rest of that nonsense, because you still got 4 more years of May. Is it 4? 3 more years of May on his rookie deal.
Could they go back next year? I don't think they can go back at all, because the second the Super Bowl is over, one name flashed in my head. Although, like I said, I grew up a Chicago Bears fan. I love the Baltimore Ravens. But as soon as the Super Bowl was over, one name jumped out of my brain.
Who?
Mahomes. I'm just like, geez, now you hit the reset button and here comes Mahomes. Right?
No. He's hurt. He's hurt.
Matter. Mahomes.
It takes a year. It takes a year. It takes a year for him to one. It takes a year for him to get back, and two, he's going to be even more restricted. One of the problem that made him nearly impossible to beat was that he could run. The Chiefs are not going to let him run next year. So now that takes away a big part. One and two, the other AFC teams are still getting better. I mean, Cincinnati's falling apart. They gave $500 million to three players, so they
Pittsburgh is
yeah,
down too.
yeah.
So
But Baltimore is still in the mix. I think the Patriots will not win 14 games next year. Like I can't wait to bet the under. I can't wait. Like I'm shaking. I can't wait to bet the under. But the Patriots to me are in the conversation and are in the conversation in the AFC. Also, I'm not out on CJ Stroud.
I'm not out on
I
CJ Stroud either.
I
Not with
think
that defense. And
right.
don't
I think
forget, don't forget,
Houston can win.
he was throwing to me and you out there, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing to me is that he was just missing back. I I think Houston. I think
Yeah, but
Houston could get there. I will say this, right? If you have to go today, right? And, we can come back. We can check in on this every 3 months, but I want you to. What are our AFC and NFC championship matchups next year?
oh my God, how am I gonna? Give
I'll
me.
go first. I'll let you think.
Yeah. Go first. Go first.
I'm gonna go first. In the NFC, it'll be Seattle and the Bears.
Okay.
In the AFC, it'll be the Ravens and the Jaguars.
Okay. NFC for me, San Francisco, and then Carolina. That's the NFC title game. San Francisco and Carolina.
Real close. They're real
Yeah.
close.
And I like it. It goes back to Drake May. Again, this is all for me as a gambler. I'm looking at these stats. I'm looking at what I want to bet, throughout the season for next year. I'm watching development. And Carolina is not good. They were not good, but they were getting better. And for the NFL, when I see a team getting better, say with a Bryce Young, he's never going to be what I thought he was going to be out of Alabama, but he's a good quarterback. Like he's a solid quarterback. And they're building a program. And I think when you build a program in the NFL, you with the schedule that they're going to have, they are going to have they are going to have a first place schedule, but that NFC South is trash.
They're
Yeah.
terrible,
Right. It's trash. So them two NFC, because I think San Francisco has been pushing. I think this is where they're going to break through and get there.
The NFC has the potential to be awful next year. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. And then AFC, I just had it. AFC, I think it's going to be Denver again this time. I think Denver will make it.
Denver needs to go get George Pickens, and then they could become a threat.
Yeah, I think Denver will make it. And when you said the Jaguars, it threw me off. But I can't argue with that pick. I would say Denver and Baltimore. I think Buffalo is not going to get there. I just don't think they're going to get there. I think some of the excuse making for Josh Allen.
I'm out on
yeah. I mean, has reached its top.
Absolutely decent. They got rid of the coach, and it's hard to come in and be impactful right away when it comes to Buffalo. They're just they're unserious.
Do they go to the new stadium though next year?
No, I think they're a year away.
A year away, yeah. Because we don't know the atmosphere there. Yeah.
They're unserious to me. I can't even think about those cats. I don't. Who's your MVP next year? Predict.
I would say
you gotta think about your picks. You gotta think about your picks.
Yeah, I know. I would say it's either going to be Jackson He has to be a prohibitive favorite. Again, even though I'm not a huge fan of that style, but that style produces numbers, and that style produces, ooze from the MVP voters. So Jackson or I'm forgetting his name, the Jaguar kid, the Viking kid.
Oh, you talking about Lawrence?
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. He's another player. He's another player. Not good, but he can produce the numbers that puts him in the MVP
Oh my God.
conversation. So he's another. But I think with Jackson coming back off of a bad year, off of a down year for him, um, and having the schedule that they're going to have, it's going to be hard for him not to be in the conversation. I think Allen has kind of removed himself, but the caveat would be if the Patriots don't take a huge step back and may improve, it's going to be hard for the voters not to give it to him because they robbed him this year. Yeah, because they robbed him this year.
I will say this, right? I want to go with Lamar Jackson, but I can't because I'm going to go with CJ Stroud.
Oh, yeah. I
think with that defense and maybe to get another wide receiver to go with Miko, I think they are. I gotta go look at some film on San Francisco.
So you don't have any faith in your dress wearing, nail polish wearing quarterback in Chicago?
He's not there yet. He's too Baker Mayfield-ish right now.
Yeah, he will never be there. He will never be there.
And analyzing, he's like the opposite of Drake May, right? Like, not opposite because they both throw a good deep ball, but Drake May struggles without routes, right? But he's great at throwing the ball down the field. Caleb Williams is horrible at throwing that shit across the middle, right? Or hitting anybody to the seam route. He's just excellent. I think I've never seen somebody just be so good at throwing on the sideline. And unless he takes the next step, he can keep the nail polish on, but he ain't gonna get no MVP until the next year.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I have no faith in him doing that. And I like Caleb. I like Caleb Williams. I think if somebody like the Patriots had that wide receiver core, it's a little bit different. If all those guys take a step, it's a wrap. I think they go to. I think they go to the NFC championship game. I want you to elaborate on that post you made earlier about Lamar Jackson.
About his talent or the overall?
The post that you made about Lamar Jackson.
I just think he's a representation of a lot of things in the bigger picture of this country, but a lot of things in the NFL. The NFL is a very, very rigid system. It is one of the, even with the concussion protocols and things like that, it is still very.
No coaches were hired this round either.
Mm-hmm. And I think under the current administration, people are being a bit more bold with rolling back some of those things. Like there's a rule in place so that this doesn't happen, and this rule was flaunted, and I don't think anyone got punished. So with Jackson is that sort of he's a microcosm of what's going on. He's clearly one of the better quarterbacks, and I'm big on winning. So stats and things don't matter as much to me if the end result is a win.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about just the Super Bowl, but that regular season win percentage, those Larry Bird, LeBron numbers where you're up there in those, high 600, 700 win percentage. Jackson, with his skill set, wins football games. But once you get into that system of the NFL, and you mentioned that, it wasn't all his fault, but to me, he's the guy. It begins and ends with him. And so he, with his own talent, can only reach a certain ceiling within the system of the NFL. And so no matter how much he runs, whether he throws for 4,000 and runs for 1,000 and wins an MVP, it's still a traditional pocket passer, that 5-step drop, 7-step drop, and throws the football accurately to the out routes.
he doesn't run a lot. But here's something you made me think about. The greatest ones of all across all sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about the Zay Flowers drop. I talked about the Mark Andrews drop. The greatest ones will their teams to win.
Yeah.
Lamar, and I'm the biggest Lamar Jackson fan ever. He has yet to show that he can will people into it. I think that's the next step for him. And we've been waiting for that. I mean, he's still very, he's younger than Burrow, right? Like, he has to show that he can, and I think that's the difference between, like, there's will, right? And what Will does, when you're willing somebody to win, that's why Brady would have, like, no names show up and win. Show up and do spectacular shit, right? If Lamar Jackson had the will to win, Andrews catches that ball. Flowers catches that ball. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think he's lacking. He has whatever he has to do. He has to create enough mystique or aura around him where it wills people to.
And that's perfect, because one of the arguments that I've had about Brady is that people talk about the defenses that he went up against, but you have to understand that the offenses too are going up against Brady because they messed up. And the reason that they messed up is because they're pressing, because they know that Brady is on the other side. So if they aren't perfect, then they have to go again. Brady's going to come in and he's going to score. And I don't think Jackson has that. So when you're coming down, so Mahomes, when Buffalo is playing Mahomes, right. He got 13 seconds left.
Remember when Brady beat him, right? And Brady beat him, not in the Super Bowl, but when he was in the AFC.
In the AFC Championship, yeah.
And Brady, we knew, like, the Patriots won the game, but everybody knew Mahomes got that ball back. They're going to. They're winning the game. And Mahomes is on that level. Brady's on that level, like that will shit, right? Like, and I think that's the step that Jackson, that Allen, and the Burrows, the Herbert, and Burrow.
Herbert will never get there. Yeah.
Burrow showed a little bit of that, but he also had like a wagon in the wide receiver core, right? Like Higgins, and they're like he had a wagon. Like,
see, Burrow to me is in the Jackson category. Yep. I think Burrow, but I mean, even in LSU, Burrow has been surrounded by some serious talent. I don't think Burrow, if you put Burrow on the Patriots, this year's Patriots, completely healthy, they don't win 14 games. I really do believe that. Even with that schedule, I don't think that Burrow's throwing to freaking hippies with no shoes and cast off is winning 14 games.
Hold on. Do you think Burrow? You're not saying that Burrow's better than.
No, I'm not saying he's better right now. I'm just speaking to your point of will. I think the guys on the Patriots play for Drake May. I think the guys on Kansas City play better because they have Patrick Mahomes. And you know what? Even with Darnold this year, I think Seattle believed in Darnold. Right? They believed in him.
They believed in him because because they couldn't believe in Geno Smith. Right?
Whatever the reason, they did.
Everybody who came in is a little bit better will get the benefit of that will, right? Like Caleb Williams the same way, right? Like nails painted and all, but the willing your team to win.
You really don't want to comment about Caleb Williams. You're trying to set me up with that Caleb Williams comment. Like you're nobody is going to. You cannot have your quarterback with nail polish and guys run through a wall. You cannot. It's not going to happen. And his arm talent is off the chain. His arm talent. You know what? That just reminded me of somebody. Aaron Rodgers is the comp for Caleb Williams. He dropped to 24 in the draft because he's an asshole. Guys didn't like him. His physical football ability, he might be one of the most gifted in terms of being able to run the football and throw the football quarterbacks that we've seen. But he has one title.
there's also no one I hate more than Aaron Rodgers.
Right, but because he's an ass. I mean, we don't know the story, but he's estranged from his family. He's estranged from everybody. He's estranged from his former teammates. He is his career is what I see Caleb Williams doing, even if Caleb Williams even reaches that height. And that aura that you're talking about, that is huge at the quarterback position. And guys will play better because they believe. Like the Super Bowl with the Falcons and Patriots, they have that famous clip of the Falcons being up 28-3. And I can't remember the player's name, but one guy is saying, it's like, yeah, we're going to win. And other guys, but they got Tom Brady, man.
Yeah,
and the guys, no, it don't matter. Nah, that's Tom Brady over there. So
Brady.
even up 28-3.
And that really drew the line between him and Matt Ryan, which we all knew, right?
Yeah.
They got Matt Ryan, they got Tom Brady. And I think, but going back to Will, I think the clip of him in Denver with McDaniels broke the will of the team as well, where he was like, man, this is hard. McDaniels was like, you know what I'm saying? I think I might have he could have gone without that. Because I remember looking at that, I was like, damn, this is the guy? You know? I don't know. I think we got to watch their moves, and I got to do some dissecting in terms of the draft and try to predict the first round. But yeah, we could definitely double back on that. So my question of the week is this, right? What are your top 3 sports movies of all time? I can go first.
Go first.
No, it's not conventional for me.
What?
It's not conventional. It's not conventional. I don't care.
Well, okay.
All right, no order. Wildcats.
It's the Sport of Kings.
Yeah.
I have that movie on DVD. Yeah.
Yo, Wildcats.
Goldie Hawn showed her nipples in that movie.
Excellent. Right?
Very underrated nipple team.
Mm-hmm. Very. But I watched it in the summer, and I was like, yo, y'all got some legends in this joint. They got homie from the Wiz that played the Scarecrow.
Yeah. Wesley Snipes.
Right? Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson. I'm like, legit. So I got Wildcats. Then I got Rocky 4.
That's on my list. Either that or Rocky 3, but go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really like Rocky until 3 and nothing beyond, right? So I got those 2. I'm struggling with the last one because everybody usually says remember the Titans or something like that. But I think I'm gonna go, and it's gonna sound crazy, but just remember I'm gonna go with Love and Basketball.
What?
Which is not a sports movie, but it's a sports movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see that one.
Okay. That's fine.
Love and Basketball. And now hippies have almost tried to ruin that movie.
Yeah.
And said this was an abusive relationship. I can't take it. Rocky 3 for me, I think, is just for me, just remembering it. Of course, Rocky 4 is great in terms of sports movie, but Rocky 3 with Clubber Lang saying on the steps, hey woman, hey woman. I honestly don't think that was in the script. I think he said that and Stallone just went with it because that was just too real for me. Rocky 3 is top. I had a good list and now it's escaping me. It's a bad movie, but Above the Rim has to be on there simply because that came out when we were all young, and it's rewatchable. It's Tupac. It's winning the title game.
trade. Yep. Go ahead.
Winning the title game in corduroys, which nobody mentioned that the dude just shows up in corduroys and starts hooping, and then the razor in the mouth, and just all those scenes are a part of culture now. It's just freaking. It's just a culture movie. It's not a good movie. It's just a part of the culture.
So that's why you think 3? I'm gonna make a trade.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna trade out Love and Basketball. I'm gonna go with White Man Can't Jump.
Oh, I didn't like that movie.
I like Rosa Parks.
Yeah. I remember that movie, but yeah, the thing is, Wesley Snipes couldn't play basketball.
No, he could not at all.
He could not play basketball.
He was pathetic.
Yeah, and the scenes in it were rough. And at that time, I was still playing basketball, so it was like, this is. Just give me a placeholder with Slapshot.
Oh.
Just give me a placeholder, because that movie is funny. Like it's a funny freaking movie. It's older, but when you watch it as a grown sports fan, it's just a funny movie. It's just funny. So give me that. I'm sure if I had my list earlier, I got sidetracked.
My sleeper would have been like Major League. Major League was hilarious.
Oh, you know what? That was on my list. Put Major League over Slapshot. Put Major League over Slapshot.
Major League is so good, right?
Yeah.
We may have to do a separate episode and just watch the episode and do the commentary. It is uniquely funny.
Yeah.
It's another one of those movies that has a lot of star power. Like Tom Berenger was the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like he was the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like
Major League is funny today. Like if you watched it today, it's fun. Major League and Slapshot were both on my list from earlier, and I put Slapshot because the funny parts it's a little bit funny. It's a little bit different. But yeah, Major League. Now that you said it out loud, and I have to put it on record, I'm putting Major League above Slapshot. Yeah, there you go. Good. Yeah, good pick.
I think Major League is hilarious.
The pissing on the contract, just a bit outside. That's again part of culture now.
Just a bit outside.
Yeah.
And even Homeboy that played the Spanish, the dark skinned Spanish dude.
Yeah, the hats for bats. Yeah. Yep. That movie's funny. That movie is funny like right now.
That movie's hilarious, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Major League.
But you know what is the only thing that takes away, because I don't think you can argue that Rocky, the original Rocky and the whole Rocky theme in terms of sports movies, in terms of being both good and about sports. But when you're a kid and you watch those movies, you're just like, yeah, Rocky won. But I realized, I can't remember how old I was when I realized, when you watch them, Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky is just a white fantasy about beating up brass talking black men. Like, no, think about it. Like, all it is in Rocky 1, you've got Apollo Creed, the over the top brass talking black men. They beat each other up, but he doesn't win. The next movie, Rocky 2, Apollo Creed with the suits. Oh, I'm just trying to make money. We got to give this white guy a chance.
Yeah.
Rocky has no business being in the ring with super muscled, tall, Apollo Creed. And Apollo
and Clubber the piss out of him.
He beats the shit out of Rocky for the first 2 movies. And each time Rocky.
He has to go get the black dude.
Mm-hmm.
With the black dude.
Right. Clubber Lang comes in. Clubber Lang is a younger Apollo Creed. Rocky gets a bunch of cupcakes, and then you got the famous line, he'll kill you to death. He'll kill you to death before you even know. Like, it's just a fantasy of all these, smaller white guys who sees a Mr. T and thinks that they could beat up Mr. T. That's what it is. When you think about that.
But if you further racialize it a little bit, he colonized Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
In part 3, and then uses his power, colonize imperialist power, kills them off the script.
Yep. And actually it's funny. Stallone says that that's his
He said
biggest regret.
that's what he
Yeah.
regrets the most, right?
Yeah. He said that's his biggest regret.
Yeah, because like you could have taken that a little bit more. Like it could have been like the old guy. You know, it could be they could be doing Rocky 10 right now, and they could be the old guys. You know, fight to the death type of thing. Oh my god, that is too funny. So the last piece is a little bit serious. But actually, before I go to that, what is the worst? Who is either the worst poster this week, or who had the worst post in the group?
Oh, I had it. It was it was there. It was I can't remember who it was that rock bully idiot. Where he said that Tim Duncan only averaged, didn't average 20 points a game.
What is your name? Oh my god.
His name is Rock Bully something.
Look him up because that was actually pathetic.
Yeah. It's not only the worst post this week, it's going to be one of the worst posts, if not the worst post of the year. Of the year. It's one of those, and that again, he's cemented in the lower level. Like he's one of the anchors of the lower level. But
Rock Bully Paul,
yeah.
bro. Like
yeah.
That Tim Duncan post you put out was pathetic.
It's one of those things where Duncan is up there in that 700 winning percentage. He not only is he up there in that 700 winning percentage, but he did what Brady did to where instead of taking Max Dollar, he kept the team around him competitive.
Yep.
And we talked about Aura earlier. He allowed that team, he allowed the Kawhis and the Parkers and stuff as he got older to take more of the burden off of him and keep winning.
And who are deeply flawed. Tony Parker was deeply flawed.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, he should. He should have if it wasn't for the early Laker dominance where Shaq actually cared those couple of years where the Lakers beat them, and then of course the Ray Allen shot. We're looking at 8-9 titles. That's what Duncan was looking at. If he didn't go up against, I guess you would call that 2001 Laker team an all-time team, I guess. And then he went up against the Miami team and lost. And then the very next year, they came back and played maybe the best basketball we've ever seen in the finals.
The best, can't be duplicated. The way they destroyed
Miami.
Mm-hmm. It can't be duplicated. All right, so I'm going to wrap it. And I think this is something that you and I, with all due respect, my boy Sel as well, like really has some influence in this thinking that I'm doing and about what I'm about to say. I've never heard you say it, so I respect you for it. And I could be wrong. So I'm going to retire the N-word. Right? I'm going to vow to never use the N-word again. Now, do I say it all the time? Nope. Do I say it in my head? Sometimes. Does it slip out? I've gotten to the point over the years where it just slips out in conversations. But yeah, I vow to never use the N-word again. I can't write it on the board. I know Kyle or Kais or whatever the hell his name is on the board. Like he likes his reply is always N-word. And this is a conversation that you guys are gonna have on a separate podcast. But like the impact of the N-word, it is deep-seated in self-hate. It is deep-seated and deep-rooted in not displaying any regard for historical context when it comes to our ancestors. It is a sheer level of exploitation of our own very ignorance. It is the only word that's been allowed to monetize our pain and our success. So officially, F the N-word.
I applaud you for that. I mean, it's a cause that I'm very big on. I remember the very last time that I said it was 1994 in Miss Edwards English class. I had I had a bookmark of Cool Papa Bell, a Negro League player, and one of my friends in the class tried to take it from me for some reason, and he was like, "How do you know about Cool Papa Bell?" And I was like, "Shut up," you know.
Yeah.
And my teacher heard me, and she was black, and she was like, "Why did you say that?" Because I said it out loud. Um, I was like, "What?" And it was just something that was said that we said. And she said, "You shouldn't say that. It's something unless you truly know what it means." And
Right.
then I was, at that time I was bad. I didn't care about anything. But I actually went and started looking it up. It wasn't on the internet, just the impact that it has. So I'll say it academically,
Yeah.
but I know I won't say it here because I don't know how it affects the podcast. But um, it is the last word that thousands of black men heard before they were killed or castrated. It is the single most recognizable sign of our oppression after the whips and chains. So when you think of that word, you're not thinking of something positive in any way. And then you have fake hoteps still to this day who say, well, there's an A, or it's this, it's that, or it used to mean, this in ancient Kemet or whatever dumb shit they say about it. And yeah, and so did swastikas. Swastikas are not a sign of Jewish hate. They didn't start out that way, but they now mean something else.
Yep.
And words in English don't stay the same. And for me, it is amazing to me that, okay, maybe you might say it, at home or whatever. My grandfather, who recently passed away, was a connoisseur of that word. He came from the 70s. But to type it, it is so ingrained in your brain that you physically take your thumbs or take your hands on your keyboard and type it out in conversation where it cannot leave your brain. That is a level of conditioning that we have never seen in the world.
Yeah.
Like to me, and I will argue I'm blue in the face. There is nothing. I think Terrence Howard had argued to try to use it on that awful show Empire. Why can't we say it? It's it is insane to me that if you are talking about striving and being autonomous, to keep using the word of your jailers, your kidnappers, your enslavers. It's nobody I'm not just talking about currently, but nobody in the history of conquest has ever adopted their subjugation the way Black American people have. It's like if Jewish people walked around with concentration camp tattoos on, and we're like, no, it's ours now. There's no more Germany. It's ours now. How ridiculous that is. And so, no, it's good to see me correct people when they do it. If they say something smart, even when they say something positive, I'll be like, yeah, well, except for
it
right,
railroads, right?
right.
It railroads your intellect, right?
Mm-hmm. Did you see Black Mirror? You ever watch that show Black Mirror? So there's an episode where the soldier, they put these implants in soldiers,
Yep.
and the implants make them see the enemies as roaches. That's what they call them, roaches. Um, and one of the soldiers, his implant malfunctions. And then he starts to see they're not roaches, they're like actual people. They're not these monsters, they're actual people. And so now because they're actual people, they can no longer kill them. He
Right.
can't, he can't pull the trigger. And that's the thing. If you and I have beef, and you're from a different block and I'm from a different block, I can't take you out if I know you as Corey. Like I can't shoot Corey, but I can shoot you if you're just a nigger.
Uh-huh.
You're no longer human now.
Right.
So I can do all these things to you because you're not human. You're not somebody with a father, with a mother, with a life to live and grow and children and blah blah blah. You're just this thing.
Yep.
And that is what we identify ourselves as millions of times a day.
It's the
And right.
dehumanizing, right? There's an article called the atomic bomb of racial slurs is the N word. And I feel it has become so rabidly inappropriate that the distinction between the ER and the A, because of how we sort of like perpetuate the ignorance around the N word, the N word with the A is vicious. It's actually probably, I don't want to weigh them, but it's the other way around. Don't say, well, I can use it because it's A. With the A, it's actually you like conceding your own ignorance, right? And you're compounding that with the historical context, right? Like, if you are willing to use the N word, you are willing to say, I am okay with slavery. And that's a thing, like, in another conversation we can have down the road around, like, the Caribbean, as a Caribbean man, someone from another country, Barbados, and we have the second largest archive for slavery in the world in our library, and to go through that library, whatever people think happened in slavery, the worst things about slavery, I could double down on the true reality of what it was, how vicious and brutal it was. And to your point, the last thing you have to say or hear is the N word. I can't do it.
The one of the things too, especially when you differentiate between A and ER, is one of the things you see in current culture today is trying to lessen the impact of that word. So now you hear other words where people didn't suffer nary, a minuscule amount. So now there are words like retard that are now called the R word, as if they're on par
with the N word.
Right. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing this concerted effort.
We did that, Aaron.
I know.
We did that.
That's what I mean.
We diluted it, right?
Like this effort, the dilution is the perfect word to sort of trivialize that word. And now when you're talking about R word and midget and all the rest of these words that don't have that impact, where particular groups are like, oh no, you can't say this. It's so horrible. Okay, you might feel offended by it, but it's not on par. And I've had that discussion before with people, and because they're losing the argument, I can guarantee what they're going to say. They're going to say that you can't measure pain, which is ridiculous. Because right now, if I asked you how many people died in the Holocaust, almost every single person can answer that question. We know the number. It's 6 million. You know why we know the number? Because the Jewish people did not let that become a joke. And that's
nobody forget about that.
No, you will never forget that number. And here's the thing. It's so important to me because there's two groups. There's sub-Saharan Africans, and I don't want to go off on a rant here, but there's sub-Saharan Africans and there's Jews. Yeah. In terms of the scale of pain in world history, you have sub-Saharan Africans up here, and then you have Jews somewhere down here. But the idea that there's another group that if you're mentally challenged, that you belong in that group and you belong in consideration in terms of the history of pain. And the reason that you're looking at sub-Saharan Africans as far and away is one, because of the length of time, but two is because it's continuing. Like it's not like in 1945.
It is
right.
That's something else. Until somebody tells me that some subgroup of people have been murdered and their skin was turned into leather belts and purses, you have nothing for me, bro.
Nothing. You have Irish people right now in Boston. Well, the Irish were slaves, and guess what happened? If they ran away, they just changed their name to Williams and went on about their day. Like it is amazing that comparison comes up.
We can't hide from that. So when I see all these lost souls on TV, and when I there's a world where Robert Handy, right, is probably like articulating himself legibly, right? But he immediately disqualifies himself when he drops the N-word.
Yeah,
It just goes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a world where he's like, we kind of know what he's trying to say sometimes, right? But until I still worry about. I'm not knocking his character. I don't know him like that. But I just wonder what happens when that sort of blackness is challenged. Is he staying in that mode, or is he willing to elevate and go there?
No, he's not. And I have been one day I'm going to make a video, but I've been studying dudes like him since I started writing these 2 scripts that I'm working on. And one of the things is, and Malcolm said it probably the best, is like people would rather just stay ignorant than accept the truth of what's happening. And the handies of the world, and I talk about this every day, they don't look, and his use of the word, I think, illustrates it, is there's a lot of black people, black men especially, go to their Facebook page, listen to them talk. They may claim otherwise, but they don't like being black. When everything that they post is lamenting being black, it's police brutality, it's this, it's that.
Yes.
They don't like it. So everything that they post is all the bad stuff about the black experience. It is never, it might be the occasional pretty black woman, but there is never just a regular sort of celebration of their blackness.
Right.
And you can see that in the way that they move, in the way that they talk, in everything that they project. It is always, and this comes up too, if they do say something positive about black, oh, well, I'm Indian, or I'm this, I'm that. People are still doing that. In fact, he just did it the other day. He's I'm Wampanoag, and I'm sitting there like, motherfucker, are you serious right now? But it's one of those things to where I don't like the term unapologetic, but being in the business world in my former life in corporate banking and various business things, I was often the only black person in the room.
Right.
I'm usually in what I do now when I do work. On the occasions that I do work, I'm still am often the only straight black male, being in the airline industry and being in the entertainment industry. So most of them, especially down here in Atlanta, most of the black actors are gay. And of course, being in the airline industry, they're gay as well. And so I often find myself having to sort of even not even consciously sort of stamp down, hold down my blackness. And when I find myself doing that, I'm like, yeah, I gotta fix that. But it's one of those things I still celebrate that. Even when I'm conscious of what it may look like, it's still a celebration. You don't see me lamenting being black. You don't see me comparing myself to.
It doesn't come off like it's your angle,
right?
Because some people have made it a niche, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing worse than racism, because racism is a matter of somebody's opinion, right? Whatever. It's the anti-blackness. Anti-blackness is stuff that, obviously we can get into it. And because we talk about it all the time, we just talk about it in football, right? And what the thing about anti-blackness is that it is really rooted in the understanding that many of them have put systems in place to make us a certain way. And they feel that we're that certain way. And they don't want to be able to make sure I made you a certain way. I gave you nothing. I made you turn on your people. I made you use these words. I made you change your life, your mind, your soul. If I'm making you do all of those things, why would I want you on my football team? You see what I'm saying? And I think that we legitimately, to your point, we could be critical of our folks, but while still elevate our folks at the same time, because part of that is actually naming the things that make us weak, but which also have the greatest black people have made it our strength. And we should. there's a struggle with that.
The reason and what you talk about, what they have made us, I think the most effective thing that this is level of systemic racism is done is sort of what you're seeing with abused people. So a lot of abusers, like some of the abusers, if you want to be topical with some of the Epstein stuff I mentioned the other day, is you then see the abused go out and abuse others themselves. And so it becomes this sort of self-replicating system. And for the European chattel slavery system, if it was just about slavery, like Romans or the African system of slavery, we would have been free and then set,
Yeah.
sort of been set up. But that system was so effective is that you now see people, many black people, who perpetuate that system on their own. So there's not this sort of boogeyman white oppressor anymore.
They don't even have to be taught no more. It is inherent.
It's thing. Right.
It's embedded. And
it's so embedded they don't even know they're doing it.
And it's so crazy because while I love our people and but I just want them I want them to care more about intellectualism because we let countries like Portugal off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Portugal invented slavery, right? And the Hoteps and all these other folks that claim that they're anchors for the culture, they are because of their deep rooted affection for anti-blackness through the lens of whiteness. They legitimately like target a specific thing and have specific talking points, but refuse to hold like the true oppressors accountable. But obviously, this is all for another day. Man, I appreciate you. I'm about to freaking. I don't know. I feel like I've never had Adderall, but it's like give me a shot of Adderall. And that's another thing, another topic we get to one day. But appreciate you, man. Folks, subscribe, like. What was I say? Like, share, subscribe. Sit and talk. Join the group. One of the top sports groups on Facebook. I'm here. Thank my guy Aaron Carter. My name is Corey McCarthy. We'll be back with another episode next week. Brand new topics, the whole nine. Couple of other guests. Sounds like we got some deeper stuff that we got to get with. And with the hat. What do you call that hat?
Yeah, I'm gonna end it with the hat with the fedora. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a hat that Jack the Ripper could adore. All right. Have a good one, y'all.
All right.